Hi, everybody. I'm here with my friend Doug Zobrist, who I met through several, I think just one actually, PDTR Bodywork community. Super awesome guy. I've known him for, 3 years now? Something like that.
I think it's coming up on 3 in July, maybe. So like 2.5.
Our anniversary?
I know, isn't that sweet?
I'm going to send you a card. So I've known him for several years and just grown to love the shit out of him. And I think he has a really cool, unique story to tell, as everyone does. So Doug is a chiropractor. He just loves talking about himself. This is going to be fun. So Doug's a chiropractor in, what's the town?
Rochester, Illinois.
Rochester, Illinois.
Right outside of Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
Literally not famous for anything besides state football championships. So if you're not into football, and especially Illinois football, nobody cares.
And I've learned a lot of cool things about small town living from you, actually. Like, I had no idea there's such an interest in buying pigeons. Is it pigeons?
No, that's just my dad and I. Nobody else cares.
It's not a popular thing.
No.
It's fascinating to me.
It's something I grew up with, and yeah. I love it. But no, it's. I would say it becomes less popular year by year.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, you guys
are. Animal husbandry's just been a thing, and Dad got into them when I was a kid, and so. Yeah, I'm just really into animal husbandry, actually. So
animal husbandry is for a city
keeping
girl.
Animals.
Yeah.
Keeping animals, essentially.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
I just said the fancy word, I guess. So
it's good for me to know these terms. So you're a chiropractor now and you do a lot of ART. How did you decide, when did you know you wanted to be a chiropractor?
About 6 tries into chiropractic school.
6 tries? What does that
mean? Trimesters.
Oh, trimester. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
It's 10 trimesters. So in my 6th trimester, I believe it was 6th trimester, I took ART for the first time.
Okay.
Either 6th or maybe even 7th. Woo. But I was near the end, and I took ART, and chiropractic was cool, but it didn't it didn't tick the boxes for me. It didn't hit all of it. So when I took ART, I was like, oh yeah, this makes a ton of sense.
That's so interesting.
It just it's like a light, flipped a light switch. Mm-hmm. And I mix metaphors a lot, and I say a lot of dumb stuff, as Jamie knows. So
that's funny, because when I was in PT school, really nothing lit me up. Like, the entire time I was in PT school, I was like, well, these are just the things you have to learn when you're in PT school. And then I went into my first job and I was like, okay, here's the stuff you do when you're a PT. And it wasn't until I started my own business that I really started to feel passionate about what I did. So I think it's cool that you were only 6 trimesters in and you found it. It's awesome.
But how many people, that's what I got. I got so intimidated by the people that are like, I got my first adjustment when I was 5 years old, and ever since I wanted to be a chiropractor. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not me at all.
Right.
Did I ever tell you this magical life calling, and I'm like, I just want to help people and do a job where I interact with people, but I don't know. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you the story of how I became a PT?
Uh-uh.
My mom found a newspaper article about the top 10 growing jobs in the country, and on it was occupational therapy, which, as you know, is basically a job where you spend a lot of time wiping people's asses.
Yeah.
Which is not fair, because OTs do many, many things. But that's literally how I started in this field. My mom looked up in a newspaper and said, well, this seems good. And I said, well, all right, but I don't want to do the OT job. I want to be a PT. I'll be the PT for the Patriots.
Yeah.
That didn't come into fruition at all. Maybe someday.
Got a lot of time left. Who knows?
It's true. I'm only 42, something like that. Yeah. 42. So I never remember how old I am. I forget. It's
You know, it's funny because like I'll go through like months where I'm like, yep, 38. And then I'll go like, am I 39? Am I 37? Like, which one is it again? I don't know.
It just stops being important after age 30.
Yeah, age 30. I think
shit.
it stops being important after like 25 when you can rent a car. After that, who cares?
Right.
Right.
Well, for women, we go through that like, oh, I have to get married. Like, I'm almost 30. Like, you know, I'm going to be on the shelf soon or whatever. So we still have a little bit of shit around age 30 and then we let it go. Yeah. Once we have our kids and get married, it's like, who cares anymore?
Yeah. That's
so
funny.
yeah, I resonate with your, you know, lack of a magical life story. It was humble beginnings. And yet here we are.
I don't know that it's not an interesting life story. It's just different. It's just like, I think it's funny because like some people are just so called and then other people it's just like, you kind of fall into it, but I mean, I love my job. I love what I do, but I can't say that it was like, I guess it's my calling, but I didn't hear the call.
Yeah.
So, well,
you
heard
listened,
it late, I guess.
But it wasn't apparently very loud and obvious.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of chiropractors that I know work these kind of intense days. They're like 10-hour days and they're doing like, you know, 4 adjustments an hour or more. That I know that's not how you work. What's your work like? What is it? Like?
So I've kind of got an interesting schedule because I do EPN work, which is corporate work for ART. And I do that with 2 different companies, which is currently suspended with, you know, everything going on. But generally it's Tuesday mornings, Tuesday nights, and Wednesday mornings. That's fairly intense. So I've got 12 people I see Tuesday morning within 3 hours. I've got 16 people I see on Tuesday night for 4 hours, and again 16 on Wednesday morning. Yeah. However, a lot of times what I try to do at my office is work like 3 to 4 hours, and then take like 2 to 3 hours off, and then work another 3 to 4 hours. And it just kind of depends on how the schedule is. And I'm a small town, so like depends on the time of year. It depends on what the farmers are doing. It depends on what the weather's like. It depends on a lot of different things.
That's so interesting, actually.
I get older ladies that don't want to drive if it's too late, you know, so in the winter it's a little earlier, in the summer it can be a little bit later. It just depends. So
in some ways I think that's kind of nice. Like the way that your small town life kind of falls into a rhythm that goes with nature. That's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
From my perspective, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it does.
And I like also having a big break in the middle of the day. Love it.
Siesta's the best.
I really love a nap in the middle of my day if I can get one.
Pretty much every day for me. It's great.
This is why you're such a happy person.
I guess. I'm well rested at least, right?
Right. So what was it like for you when you, I don't even know if I know the story. When you first became a chiropractor, like, did you join a practice? Did you have your own practice right away? Like, how did you work that?
I bought a practice from an applied kinesiology doc, or husband and wife team. And I had actually gone to high school with him and long story short, I was older than him, or I was above him in high school, and ended up finishing after him in chiropractic school because getting a master's in between. And I went to dental school for a year, which I don't know what that was about, but it is what it is.
Right.
So I bought it from them, and it was cheap, but it was interesting. Like, I didn't get a chance to meet any patients really. It was just kind of, here you go, here's the keys, here's everything. And so it was like I didn't have to build out a spot, but I had to do the rest of the work myself. So and that's still going, you know, it's like a never ending process to evolve and everything with the practice. But
right. But you didn't have that like classic mentorship type thing that some chiropractors have when they begin, huh?
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, so it's cool.
Well, when you were in school, did you have, like, do chiropractors have like internships or affiliations or something? How does that work?
So some people do internships.
Hmm.
We had just like a student clinic, or not student clinic, I guess. It was, outpatient clinic or whatever. So we would have people come in. I don't remember the name of it, but mine was on the campus,
Mm-hmm.
Logan, and so you had to get X number of people through the door. You had to do X number of things, X number of adjustments, all of that. And
Mm.
so did a lot of learning there. And I think a lot of it was more, oddly enough, like getting to trust myself and getting to kind of trust instincts and everything else. So it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they teach you like people skills in chiropractic school?
Yes and no. I feel like so much of it is just how not to get sued, or how not to, you know, they teach us
Oh
obviously
man.
adjusting courses, and you have your electives that you can take. But I felt like
Mhm.
a lot of it was like, this is kind of how marketing is. This is the bare science behind it. And then this is what red flags to look for, what essentially when not to adjust, when to see a sign of something that's very serious and send them to the emergency room, or send them to their primary care, or something like that. So I felt like a lot of it was just how not to get sued or how not to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So which is good. I mean, I'm glad, because my instincts are really good when something pops up and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to know that, to get them out the door. But then on the flip side of it, that's why I think ART was so fun, because it's like, oh, I'm applying the anatomy I saw, and being able to know like where it lies, not only where it, origin and insertion, but what the other structures are around it.
Mm-hmm.
And so gave me a really good, good, I don't want to say, really good knowledge of the anatomy, and a good functional knowledge of the anatomy, just not knowing, oh, this goes from here to here, or this is the innervation to it. Like, have to kind of think in 3D and then beyond. So
Yeah. For a while there, I thought I need to take ART because my partner Noah is really great at ART, and he's really good with anatomy. And for all the anatomy classes I've taken in PT school, and it's like, what's that? I don't know. Some muscle. I just, like you memorize things, you memorize the insertion, origin, the blood supply, the innervation, and all that. And then if you don't use it in a practical way, it's gone from your brain.
right,
Like, there's no need to remember these things for me,
right.
where the way I work now. So yeah, for a while there, I thought I should take ART, but my hands are just so puny.
Mine are too.
Yes, your hands are tiny. And Noah just laughs about my thumb. It has like 0. I'm trying to make it so you can see like the lack of muscle. There's just no. I don't think I was made for ART. In other
I
words.
had a patient that he was laughing. He goes, I couldn't do what you do. And he had both of his thumbs were just like, it looked like they had nerve damage and there was muscle wasting,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just how he was.
Oh
And
yeah.
so he was doing a job, and I'm just like, I mean, it helped. Don't get me wrong, it helped, but it was just one of those where it's like, man, this is unusual,
Yeah.
without there being actual nerve damage. He's like, my dad's were the same way. It's a genetic thing, but it was
Yeah.
really interesting. So
Yeah, like some people are not meant to be doing these jobs where you have to have grip strength.
right.
My
I don't
hands.
think these were meant for dentistry, so that's why I'm not a dentist. These big mitts that I've got.
Let me get my hands in you. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I had the similar experience in PT school. Everything was very research oriented, like heavily based on what was evidence based, and not a lot of like, here's how you talk to someone, and here's how you show empathy for someone's pain, and none of that. None of the actual things that you have to learn on your own when you have a practice. Yeah. At least you guys learned about marketing and stuff. I mean, we didn't learn anything.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
some of it's interesting because it's marketing like a specific way.
Yeah.
So it's very much based on taking insurance, volume, all that sort of thing. And so it's weird because I still have this like vestigial idea of, oh, I should be doing this way, or I should be doing this way. And it's like taking me, I'm 7 years into practice, and it's like, I keep having to break that down to try to figure out like my own way. So
it seems to be working for you, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Prior to this virus situation, you're busy, happy, got lots of clients, patients. Yeah. I call them clients now. It's a habit I got into.
Yeah.
Out of calling them patients. Okay. So what have been some of the challenges or frustrations for you in any realm, like whether, building the practice or working with certain types of clients?
Well, and I don't, if anybody that's watching this or anything else, like, I met Jamie by needing some energy work done. And so I think the biggest challenge for me is my own confidence, and my confidence in my skills, my confidence in my schooling, any of that sort of thing. So I think honestly, most of it's been personal stuff more so than it has been any it's not a lack of knowledge. It's my trust in my own knowledge, or that sort of thing. I mean, I kind of joke that I feel like I'm despiteful, or I'm successful despite myself. So, like, if I can find a way to sabotage it, I will. But it's been something that, and that's why I know the anniversary, because it changed my life, and knowing that it's all my beliefs, it's all, all these different things that are fixable, and it's not necessarily my fault or anything else. It's just, I don't know, you've really kind of changed the way I look at life, period. Yeah. So
I'm glad. What Doug is talking about, for anyone who doesn't know, there's a form of emotional clearing work called cellular release therapy, where you ask about fears and beliefs that are limiting. So not like good ones, like I am whole, or my life is amazing. These are challenging beliefs, such as I'm never going to be good at this, or I can't build a successful practice, or it's hard to make money as a chiropractor, or
my hands are going to hurt because I do too much ART. I had somebody tell me that before.
Yeah.
This one guy that I almost went into practice with, he told me, he's like, I have no idea how you're going to do ART long term. Like, you're going to kill your hands. And I feel like my hands get stronger, if anything.
I know, but then there's Mike Leahy, the creator of ART, and it's not like he's walking around with broken hands.
Like gnarled up fingers like this or something. Yeah.
No, he's been doing it for, 20, 30 years, however long it's been around.
I'd say 30 plus, maybe. Yeah. I mean, he's a creator, so I'm sure he's been doing some form of it for quite a while. But
it seems like ART, the way people practice it is really different from person to person anyway. So
I agree.
I think that there's finesse to it that you learn.
Right? Yeah, and I think it depends on your personality. I think it depends on a lot of different things. I mean, they try to standardize it, but realistically, everybody does a little bit different. People throw in, different things. SFMA, they throw in. Some people throw in Graston. Some people throw in, old school, like chiropractic, like E-stem and Russian stem and all that sort of stuff. I think there's just a lot of it that that's kind of the fun part of it, is you get to make it your own, and you kind of get to see, like, oh, I'm going to do it this way, and then get the result. And then, sometimes it's like, well, let's try it this way and see if that's not, because everybody's different too. Everybody comes in and
Totally.
you and I might have the exact same thing, and I got to treat them completely different. So,
Right. Absolutely.
and throw in PDTR and,
Yeah.
you know,
And just
so,
within the ART technique itself, some people are really heavy handed, and some people you're like, are you even doing it right now? You know,
yeah.
like, this is more like Swedish.
Well, and
Yeah.
then I get to the point where sometimes and that's why I always say, like, keep going to seminars, because your hands get better. You
Yeah.
know, it's not, because sometimes I do feel like I'm a big guy. Like I feel like I'm just pounding on somebody. And, you know, I've got a patient right now that's 5'2" and about 95 pounds. And I cannot go any harder on her because it'll hurt my hands.
Yeah.
And then I get people that are my size that are like, I can barely touch. Yeah. Big wusses. So
Have you ever
it's just,
had
it's just different.
it is different. Our reception is weird right now. I think we're good. Have you ever had anybody who wanted, like, I'm just thinking back to when I first met Noah, and he had a couple people who would ask him for like 2 hours of ART. Have you ever had any?
Yeah. And I tell them, I'm like, that's just not how it works. You know, I'm like, I'm very much like problem driven. So it's like, I'll do some testing to see, because it may not, you know, it's not exactly, doesn't have to be right where the pain's at. It could be somewhere else. It could be, you know, helping with function as opposed to helping with just pain, or however.
Yeah.
And there's so many people, and they're like, oh, I just need like an hour. And I'm like, yeah, not going to happen. Like, I feel like I'm giving too much of myself to one person at that point.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just jotting that down. I agree. It's a very specific technique. It's like there's a lot of other ways that now to work and do the same work. PDTR is one really helpful thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Keep you from having to keep going after the same release work. Oh.
Right. Well, and I don't know. I feel like if I'm going after the same thing and it's not working, then it's, you know, it's finding out what else works. And I think that's kind of the fun of it, is like figuring out different ways to treat things just with ART. Like with, for instance, like corporate stuff, I'll get disc patients that I can't adjust them. I can't do anything like that. But trying to learn how to work with, you know, the psoas and different muscles to actually help with disc pain and everything. And that's an interesting one, because
you have to be
I
so
can't adjust.
Yeah.
I can't adjust. And so it's like, well, what can I do? And then it's like, what can I, like, maybe take like a part of this move and a part of this move. I'm not supposed to say this, but take a part of this move and a part of this move, and, like, you know, help somebody.
Yeah.
So
have you transitioned into doing any energy work with your hands?
No, not well, unless you want to include like emotional work through PDTR. No, I haven't done any energy work per se.
Yeah.
So
not that you know of.
Not that I'm aware of, but I will say that I've had times where I notice more the negative than the positive, but when I've had patients before that kind of zap all my energy, and I feel like just touching them is like, it's like they're an energy vampire. Just, you know, it's like, it takes me like 2 or 3 patients to like get back up to speed, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how can you be this negative about everything?
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's sad.
It is. Yeah, those people require the boundaries, like the bubble.
Social distancing.
Social, yes. Have you seen that meme on Facebook where it's like 8 different people wearing the costumes in the grocery store? Have you seen that? Yeah, like one person has like a full scuba suit on. Someone else
that's
has
funny.
like a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex hat on.
Oh, that's funny.
Somebody else has literally a plastic bag on their face. I'm like, that's not safe.
Didn't your mom teach you better than that?
I know. I feel like everyone should know that you can asphyxiate in one of those bags. My favorite one was this woman who went in with a birthday hat on her mouth. Like one of those pointed hats coming off of her mouth. Ridiculous. Oh my goodness. So how do you know when it's time to take care of you? Like you're feeling run down or whatever. Like what are the signs for you?
Probably anger.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm generally not that angry, but I find myself getting angry with like inanimate objects. And it's like, okay, you didn't sleep well enough, or something's bothering you, or
Yeah.
something's going on, you know? That's usually when I've kind of figured out, it's like, okay, what's the deal? What do we need to look at? You know, do a self-assessment. And the bad thing is that can last sometimes for a week before I know what it is, or
It can,
before I feel like I've got a handle on it again. You know, and it's not blowing up at people. I'm just not that person. I don't blow up at people.
Yeah.
It's just like
iPads.
Yeah, technology's a big one. Oh, Jamie knows me.
I do, and now that I think I've told you that I am on testosterone now. Did I tell you this?
Yeah.
Now I get it. I have wanted to break things. It's so funny. I'm like, oh, this is what Doug and Noah are talking about. I want to smash these things in front of me right now, but I'm not going to.
Have you ever seen all the Kyle memes? You know, you're talking about memes.
Yeah.
The Kyle memes where it's like Kyles are guys that drink Monster Energy drinks and punch holes in walls.
Oh my.
And so it's just like kind of like a trope or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think the funniest is there's like a mom feeding a baby with a Monster Energy drink with like a nipple on it, like feeding this baby, and she's like,
oh God.
"Drink up, Kyle. You're gonna have to grow big and strong so you can punch holes in walls."
Oh my God. Well, have you ever had one of those energy drinks?
Yeah. So in chiropractic school, a couple of my friends and I got real into advanced energy drinks, like different flavors and everything else, and we got real into those. And then this past year, every time I drank one, like my stomach just bottomed out. And I felt terrible, and so I completely stopped them. Yeah, I think they taste delicious. I just can't handle them anymore. My body's really good when like something doesn't work anymore. It's just like, yeah, you can't do this, dude.
No,
done.
this is not gonna work for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like alcohol. I just can't do it anymore. So
I rarely do it anymore either. Back in PT school in 1995, my breakfast in the morning when I had 7 a.m. physics was a Mountain Dew and a muffin.
yeah.
I didn't drink coffee. I hated coffee until I was 39 or something like that.
Yeah, I picked up coffee at like 35, and I'm still one of those people. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Like I wake up and I'm not like I need it, but I don't mind it. You know, if somebody's got it, I'll take some.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm rarely one of those people that needs caffeine unless it's like studying for finals, or thank God I don't have to do anymore.
Right.
Or like a long drive or something like that. So
I hope to never take another test again in my whole life.
I mean, I know I'm gonna have to take tests, but they're not gonna be like the same type of test. You know, like I know I'll have to do like ART tests and stuff like that, but I don't have to take like a written. What do you say?
I said they're going to be like internet tests, like what percentage of a woman are you?
Yeah. 87%.
What Disney princess are you?
Yeah. Jasmine. Duh.
Those are the only tests I want to take.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I really don't want to have to sit down and take like a hardcore chemistry, physiology, something like that test anymore.
Oh no.
Like that sounds awful.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what kind of test. I don't plan on taking any classes in which I would need to do any of that.
Yeah.
Although I think in PDTR now there's a written test if you take it.
Oh, there is.
Oh, there is.
Oh, I mean, those are, I'm going to take part 2 and 3 yet.
I didn't take
part 2 and 3 yet. Mm. So.
Yeah, I never got technically certified for advanced, but I also just was done. I was done with the whole thing by then. So, what are your favorite, or who are your favorite types of people to work with? Like, who are the ones that you just love when you can get them in
Number
your
one
office?
are younger athletes.
Mm.
Honestly, athletes in general, just because ART is it's specific stretching. I mean, it's just super specific on one spot. So,
Yeah.
or, through the length of a muscle or the length of an interaction between a muscle and a nerve, or, something. And it's so specific that you get a lot of it where it's like, it's workout soreness, or and athletes get that.
Yeah.
And so young athletes are nice, like college age or something like that, because they, not only do they get it, but they also respond well.
Yeah.
And you get to see, I don't get to follow my factory workers or any of them around, but I can see my athletes actually perform. So that's rewarding. And I don't know, I just like helping people. I like helping people that want to get helped, because there's so many people that I think they want to get helped, and they don't. They're getting some sort of benefit from being in pain.
Yeah, they have secondary gain.
Right.
They call it. Yeah. What are the kinds of either patients or diagnoses that are really super hard for you to work with, that you don't enjoy?
I'm challenging myself on feet right now. I feel like I could be better with feet.
Mm.
And I do this. What'll end up happening is, like, I get better at one thing, and then it's like another one just pops up. And right now, feet is the one that's popping up. So I'll get better at that, and then just kind of in general, like plantar, I'm pretty good with. It's just like there's certain ones where it's just like, man, I'm just not getting this right now. So, but they get better though too. I'll work through that, and then it's like the next one pops up. So or
do
you think you're like,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, like, I think then I'll get one where I'm like, okay, I'm really good with feet, and then it's like a shoulder comes in, and it's like, okay, now I'm switching to shoulders, and I'm down another rabbit hole, and that's frustrating but kind of fun at the same time. So I don't think I'm ever gonna stop learning. So, and even going back and learning the same stuff, because we all forget. You can't remember everything. So, I don't know. I enjoy going back and seeing everything. And I swear stuff moves every time I look at it. Like, I think I've got my anatomy down, and then it's like, oh, it's just a little bit not quite the way I remember it. So then it's good to get that
refresher.
Just refresh all the time. So.
Yeah, I went for, when I did more Bodywork, which pre-2017, I was mostly Bodywork, maybe 30 or 40 hours a week. I would get these weird patterns of, like, everyone this week is going to be plantar fasciitis, and next month it's frozen shoulder, and then it's hip pain. I can remember, like, there was this one phase where mostly Noah, he had like 50 to 55-year-old women with hip pain.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell? Like, why is it only this kind of thing?
I made a comment to a patient last week. I said, this is weird, because every patient, and I'm saying like the 50 before them that had this particular thing had it on the other side. And so it's not a problem. It's just the mirror image. So then I just had to, just switch hands or whatever. But it was just weird, because everybody else that had that problem had it all on the right side. So I had to go to the left. And I'm like, like, it took me a second. And I was like, this is all backwards. And then it's not a big deal, but it's just, I'll probably have 50 or 100 in a row now on the left-hand side, not on the right. It's just the way it works. I don't know why that is, but Maybe God's just saying, hey, you really need to work on this.
Yep. Get
Or
good.
somebody is.
Yeah.
So
from my friend Tori, I know that there are certain chiropractic colleges that you can go to where they're kind of like, I don't want to call them magical thinking, but kind of like they think a certain cervical adjustment just is like the elixir of life or something. Have you ever found any of that stuff to have any like truth to it? Just out of
no.
No.
So
Darn it.
I can't say that I can't say that I don't think it. I can't say that I think it doesn't work. Hold on. I think that's a double negative. Yeah, I'm not going to say that it doesn't work, put it that way. But I think that I'm kind of weird because I'm spiritual, but I'm also like, when it comes to chiropractic, like very scientific oriented. So I want to see where stuff's at. I want to see why it works. I want to know what the mechanism behind it. I want to know all that. But on the flip side of it, I'm also not opposed to some of that thinking, but I think it's odd to I think it's almost like two separate types of work in a lot of ways. And I think that sometimes when it's like, oh, I'm going to do this adjustment, and then you're going to see Jesus for about 4 seconds, and then you're going to be, you're going to be this or that. Like, I'm making fun of it, but I don't get that connection with that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to speak on it because I don't, a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, why don't all chiropractors do ART? And I'm like, well, because they're getting results a different way. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't, it's just, this is the way I choose to practice. And it's kind of like you said with everybody who even practices ART different. Like
Right.
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just some things are better suited for certain conditions, and certain conditions are treatable, 20 different ways. It just is. It's how you interact with the patient. How do they respond? Because if they're not buying into it, then nothing's going to work. So I don't know.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I was just curious because there seems to be, I'm friends with a lot of chiropractors on Facebook. There seems to be kind of like cliques to them. There's like sports chiros and your everyday chiros. And then there's some that they're just, they just talk about vaccines and things like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cliquey bunch.
Yeah. And I just don't like dealing with any of that.
I know.
I'm just not, I want to do my own thing. I'm not rude to anybody. It's not that I don't want to talk to other chiropractors. I just like to do my own thing, so.
I think that's a good way to be.
Yeah.
Stay in your own lane, right?
Right. And I think there's, people try to copy, and it's a good thing sometimes, you don't need to reinvent the wheel on some of the stuff.
Right.
But on the flip side of it, it's like, have your own voice, do your own stuff. And, nothing I'm doing is unique to me, but possibly the way I put it together is unique.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I don't know how many ART practitioners that know the same things I do. It's just how is it applied? What's their touch like? What's just all of it. So
I guarantee you there's no one else like you out there. That's pretty much a guarantee.
Yeah.
So if you could go back in time and tell young Doug, who was just beginning to have a practice, some helpful advice, what would you tell younger Doug?
Hire a front desk person. You need help, Doug.
You need help, Doug.
No, I would just say, I think one of the biggest things is, and I'm still telling myself this, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Like I'm not looking to make the most money next year all the time. It's like, my thing is about how many, it's more like how many people can I help? And I know that sounds cheesy and it sounds like I'm like, pandering to people or, trying to sound amazing or something, but it's like, no, that's kind of the way I view it, is like, how many people can I help? And then it's, how do I monetize that? If I was independently wealthy, I'd do it for free. I'm not. So I've got to try to make money and I've got to try to make money. And so it's, how do I do that reasonably for everyone involved? Because I don't want to gouge people either. I don't know.
Right. You want to make sure people can afford your services and that you're the energy that you're putting in, you're receiving equal energy back. That I like to think of it that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to put so much energy into someone. I want to receive equal or a reasonable amount of energy back.
Right.
And like you said, if I didn't need to pay rent for this office, I would probably do it for free too. I think almost every healer on the planet would.
Yeah.
We just love to give.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you completely. And there's so many different variations on the business model, and it's just, everybody's different. And I mean, because I've also talked to people where they're like, hey, I'm making X amount of dollars, I'm seeing this many people. I mean, I had a doc tell me, I make 60 grand a year and you're never going to get rich doing this, but it's a good life. And I'm sitting there thinking like, I think you could do more.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean monetarily, but I think it's like, you're not maximizing your ability to heal.
Yeah.
You're seeing, it didn't make sense to me. So
I think there's a lot of mind fuckery out there. I especially see it with I really do. There's so many weird, gimmicky marketing things, packages, and just none of that stuff ever resonated for me. I really feel what I've learned through time is that people have a natural rhythm for their healing process.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you honor that, they really trust you.
Yeah.
Rather than forcing them into this is how I work 3 times a week for 4 weeks, and then twice a week for 2 weeks, and then once a week for whatever.
Right.
I mean, I get, practically speaking, why insurance, like when you work with insurance and there's just rules that you have to follow and all this stuff that's made up by people who are not really doing the job. So that's why, like you, I've chosen not to bill insurance, because I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, and I deal with it during some of, I do a little bit of work with some work comp, and the amazing thing to me is and it's weird, like the company will say, oh, we're only allowing X number of visits because their insurance is telling them this and everything. And some of the people, it's like, they give them, say, 8 visits, and I'm like, I could probably get that done in 4. Mm-hmm. And then some people need 8 visits and they give me 4, right. So it's
just do the best that you can do, which is really disheartening, I think.
Yeah. Because I don't feel like, some people, I don't feel like they're getting the best care that way.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why. So in my job history, I first worked at a VA. The reason why I wanted to work at the VA is because, for the most part, those guys got what they needed. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they needed a piece of equipment, they were going to get it. There was no nonsense or red tape at the time that you had to go through to get something for someone. And then I worked at Shriners, which is a huge philanthropic organization. And when I began working there, literally you could get a child a $30,000 wheelchair, all covered by the funding of the organization. Yeah. And you could get the kids whatever they needed, a bicycle, you get them a tricycle, or all kinds of supplies and things. You could see them forever. I had this one little girl who I saw twice a week for a year for PT. Yeah. I loved it. And so that's why I could never bring myself to work in a business in an office where I had to follow these rules.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I tell people that all the time where I feel like my treatment plan lengths are very similar,
Mhm.
but then I either cut them short or I'd say, hey, we probably need a couple more, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's rarely, yeah, you all need, you know, 850 visits. Like that's what's going to take. That's what it's going to take. It's like, no, you need, this is what we're going to work on. This is what we're doing. These are range of motions I'm looking to improve. This is the, obviously get the pain out of there. This is the range of motion I'm working with. This is, hey, these are the 3 things you love to do on the weekend and you can't do them right now. So let's get those figured out, and
Mhm.
why you're not able to do them now, we'll get you to do them. So
Yeah.
just simple. It's just care.
Yeah, it is.
And it's what's best for them as opposed to what's best for somebody's pocketbook.
Right.
So
Or what's measurable on some arbitrary
chart.
chart,
Yeah.
objective measure. So if there are any people that want to reach out to you, either because they want to work with you or have questions about how you made your own way in the chiropractic world, what would be the best way for people to reach out to you?
Probably through email.
What email do you want?
It's fluid motion chiro fluidmotionchiro @gmail.com.
Thank you. I'm like, what are you saying when you started to spell it?
Yeah.
And then like after 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, he's spelling it for me in case I don't know how to spell
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That'd probably be the best.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool. Awesome.
yeah, it
Well, this was lovely.
was very nice.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Wasn't painful.
No, I told you it wouldn't be. We talk to each other so easily.
Yeah, very easily.
Well, I hope you have a really good night. Thank you
Yeah, you
again
too.
for sharing your time, and people can just learn from what you've learned. So I think a lot of people will like what you've had to say. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Have
and
a
I hope
great
you
one.
have a good night.